Okay, Raptors win, Raptors win, Raptors win, everyone. It is Kenyon here. It is Basketball Rewind, and hey, I am here. I'm recapping this, and I'm going to go through. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. And same to you. I'm happy to see you grow and your channel, and I'm happy to be part of the journey at some point or another. um, let's get started on this one. So, Raptors win their third summer league game in a row. They are now 3-1, so they've just improved. Hopefully, you can hear me pretty well. I can't really, I can't tell, but it seems like the sound's good on my front. So let's just go on with it. So yeah, the Raptors ended up winning 101-97. Really, the game was won and fought majorly in a big way by the Raptors in the third quarter with a combination of their offense scoring 34 to 18 points, but also, like I said, the 18 points, their defense. So to me, that's where the game shifted. That's where the game was won. That was where the battle was really fought. Denver stormed back in the in the fourth quarter with 35 points, but they weren't able to really slow down the Raptors, and as such, the Raptors were able to stem the tide. Now, I will get to the fourth quarter just in a second, but I want to add a couple things about a couple of different people. First things first, EJ Liddell. Yeah, that was some Bush League stuff. I was not impressed by that. He purposefully, at some point, I'm like, is this Chuck Liddell or something like that, trying to do some UFC type of, give him the bow right down to the face? That was ridiculous. Also, shout out to, I think his name is Bowie. He had a tough fall. I don't think that Martin fouled him in a purposeful or mean manner, or it was ill intentioned, but at the same time, obviously accidents happen, things happen. So I hope he feels better, because he had basically the equivalent of a spine tingler that occurred on the scoreboard at one point. Like literally his the back of his spine, and he like just flipped back. That was pretty gnarly actually. So I hope he's okay. He was down for a bit, and that triggered EJ Liddell to go aggro mode. And I don't know what you're doing, because you're in your third year. You missed. I guess this this is it'd be his fourth year actually, and he basically missed his first year and hasn't really played much. You can't be doing this type of bush league stuff. So yeah. Um, you're behind in the stream. Oh, okay, cool. Um, anyway, so yeah, wasn't really impressed with that. Nuggets fought back in the third quarter, or sorry, in the fourth quarter, but the Raptors were able to hold on, and I thought that they did a good job of actually holding on, in my opinion. I was a little bit worried near the end. The late game execution kind of unraveled a bit for the Raptors, but they held on and they scored. So let's go into the specific players, and then I'll give my analysis. Okay, so Jamal Shed, 6 of 14, 1 of 5 from deep. I thought he didn't do as good of a job, even though he had 8 assists. There were times this game he didn't do as good of a job of distributing the ball, in my opinion. So, hey, I mean, it is what it is, but you like how do I put it? Will actually got to it. Like CMB, he's good at like if plays aren't run for him, he will find a way to be impactful. But when a player is playing like that, you have to reward them. And I always put that on the offensive initiators every single time. Last year I gave Barnes quickly, like basically everyone a lot of flack because I thought that they were bad at initiating the offense. And you have to make sure if you're going to run an offense that's going to have more heavier ball movement and you're going to emphasize that, then you have to make sure that you're feeding the hot hand or rewarding guys for doing the dirty work. Um, as Blackhawk just pointed out, it was a little bit of a bar fight, but yeah. All right. So from that standpoint, I thought he was good. The defense was good all around. I really liked that. So that was something that was good. What's my take? I already just gave my take. I just said like I'm not sure if he was Chuck Liddell or not because it was Bush League. It just you're a you're going into your fourth year. I know you missed your first year because you were injured, but you got to do a lot better in terms of keeping your composure. If you can't, you're not going to be in the league for long, and that's why you're in your fourth year going into summer league or whatever. So that's on him. He needs to do a lot better. This is why he's bounced around a little bit, and I hope he learns from it. I'm not hoping anything bad. It was Bush League, but I'm hoping for better. But yeah, going through, I already mentioned Shed. One other thing about the Nuggets before I go back into this game, I thought Daron Holmes coming back from a Achilles tear where he just wasn't able to play all last year. I mean, him coming in and looking like a pro throughout summer league actually has been really really impressive. I thought he was really really solid throughout, and obviously not as good at down the stretch, but I mean overall, I mean, coming back from not being able to play at all for your first year to having double doubles and flashing some potential to stretch the floor and stuff like that, you love to see that. So really really happy to see him healthy. Always been a big fan of his game. So yeah, in terms of the other Raptors. So let's just go through it. Walter was absolutely on fire. I love the fact that he was literally hunting his shots. He was making himself available, finding himself in the right spots, and was getting rewarded as a result. Loved it. Great. I mean, I wrote down a couple notes. Like he had like in the first quarter a nice sidestep three. He was drawing. Then he drew a perimeter foul on the other end, an offensive foul where it was kind of a little bit of a sell job, but hey, that is part of what becoming a vet is like, and it's important. Then, of course, after that, he had another three right after that, where he just ran the floor well in transition, ran down. But it's not always just running down the middle of the floor, but he ran and spaced out to the left corner. That was really beautiful. That was nice. And then again, he was just hunting a shot, and hunting it around screens, showing kind of, to be honest, what a true Baylor guard is like, in my opinion. So love to see it. Loved it. Defensively, I thought Walter was great. He had a great chase, some great closeout blocks, great chase down attempts at least. Not he didn't get a chase down block, but he had a chase down attempt, but really good effort, and he was just literally on fire. He was on fire so much that I guess EJ Liddell had to try to knock him out of the game. I don't know why he did that, but yeah. Um, yeah, Shed moved the ball around decently, adequately, but again, you have to feed the hot hand. I actually thought, um, he also has to hit wide open threes more often. But here's the thing, right? Like that kind of brings me to my next point. I thought CMB did a really, really, really good job of, in my opinion, finding. And I was talking to JD if he happens to watch this later. We were talking about this and pointed out, like right when I was about to text him actually, that CMB was doing really well at finding the right, like making the right play, playing unselfishly, finding the hot hand. So Jacoby has the hot hand. He did, he had a really good play right before that defensively, gets the ball in transition, hits it behind him, flicks the ball behind him to Jacoby, who hits the three. That's beautiful. That's great. That's exactly what you want to see. But also, he wasn't timid, CMB that is, at like trying to mix it up and get his own offense. He wasn't looked for enough, and I think that for the next game, I expect that to be a bigger emphasis. But on 5 shots, he got 10 points. He got to the line 4 times. He actually hit a 3-pointer that looked pretty decent. He, 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. He was great on the boards. Got one offensive board, two defensive boards. I mean, yeah, and he even got a block as well. He's been impactful. This was a really good game, and I think this was really, really. Oh, well, go on, JD. I thought he did a really good job of just mixing it up and showing that he could be an impactful player. And even if, like, at worst case, he's a role player, which this year he probably will be a role player. I think that he is showing that he will be on the floor, be impactful, and the floor is relatively high for this cat. So, yeah, shout out to him. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, just really quickly, one final note on Walter. Obviously, 4 of 11 from deep. That's just fine. 50% from the field. But here's the other thing, and this is the flack that I give to to everyone on the roster at times. He hit his free throws. He was 6 of 7. That helps a ton. And not only that, he had 7 steals. Like, my goodness. He was, at one point, it just felt like anywhere that the Nuggets were passing the ball, he seemed to just intercept that. It was really, really good, really awesome. And yeah, um, exactly. He did make a three. He did make a three. Um, and so yeah, so that was that. Moving along, I want to talk about Martin. I thought he was how do I describe Martin today? Offensively, since the first game, he hasn't had the same type of 16-point eruption, but I think that's fine. Overall, I thought he was solid. I wrote down he had like amazing hustle play in transition midway through the second quarter, where he got the steal. He ran all the way back, getting into it. He stopped a layup in transition, and he was smart enough to kind of not only knock the ball out of the guy's hands, but knocked it against the guy's leg, and it went out of bounds. That's really good hustle play. That's smart, high level basketball. Good stuff. That will keep him on the floor. I know. I know the other thing too is he did taper off a little bit, but again, the fact that he kept the energy up in terms of defensively, that is really important. At the end of the third quarter, he had a really solid weak side, help side block. Yes, it was after someone was I forget which Nuggets player, but he was fouled. At the same time, it stopped an easy end one. Those are the types of things that are, in my opinion, are really, really important. Battle did battle things. I'm not really going to comment on Battle because at this point we know he's an NBA player. He's an NBA rotation player. I'm not. I know some people are like, oh, game to game will say like this guy's a superstar, this guy's amazing, or whatever. He's an NBA player. Chomchi is the man of the match. Again, I've been subtly saying throughout this past year on Basketball Rewind, hey, I think that Chomchi is going to play some minutes in the first 2 years of his career, and I think that he can carve out between 5 to 10 minutes. Can he just do that? And I think that he definitely can. I think he can do that. I think it's going to be important and imperative that he does that because there's going to be some nights that Pirtle gets into foul trouble. You're only going to have Mamu and this dude left, and Mamu playing 35 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to do that. So you need a third center. There are minutes to be had. There is an avenue for him to get minutes, and I think that he is showing. Really, this is a testament to. I know a lot of people are going to say whatever they want to say. He put in the work, and it's showing. He put in the work. This is what, like, when you put in the work, you see a difference in someone's game year over year. Like, he looked completely, Charlie Brown, where the Lucy's taking the football away, and then the guy kicking it, and he's just all pissed off. He doesn't know, like, good grief. Like, he looked like that at times last year because he was so lost on the court, but he was giving good effort. Right now, like, this guy he looks like, okay, he could be an NBA back of the rotation, but a back of the rotation player. Sometimes his movements are a little bit awkward on the closeouts, but there's never, as Greg saying, no lack of try. He tries all the time. I love it. Chomche, he at one point, I think in transition, he had like a block on one end, ran down the court in the other end, and then did a wraparound pass to, I forget who it was to. I wasn't paying attention to who he passed it to, but it was a sick wraparound dish right around the guy, like where he like brought it up and like went around the guy's back and like flicked it. That was just beautiful stuff. And he's trying new things. He had a like you can tell that the footwork is like slowly getting there. It's still a little bit jerky. It's still a little bit mechanical. But the fact that he's trying things, whether it's successful or not, I like love to see it. Obviously, just from a point standpoint, he didn't have like an amazing game, but on the glass, he was big as well. So he's definitely going to be able to have some opportunities, opportunities there. So yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, 57th pick overall. Again, I do sure Masai great, but the person who really deserves the credit here is Chomchi. I mean, Chomchi worked on his game, and he needed to work on his game time and time and time again. So yeah, just gonna go through some comments real quick, and then we'll get back to the analysis, where we talk about Chucky Hepburn. Yay. I'm just kidding. So yeah, Battle's a better defender than Grady. I mean, yeah, I mean Grady was a fifth percentile defender. That's not that hard, but I agree. But they play different roles, right? Um, in my opinion, Battle is more of a 3 than a 2, and I think Grady is more of a 2 than a 3. They can kind of interchange a little bit, but yeah. And I think just in terms of movement shooting, while Battle is showing that he can do a little bit more of the movement shooting, like in this one, he had a buzzer beater, of course. Um, I think you're looking at ceiling versus floor, and like the defensive floor for Battle is higher, but the offensive floor and ceiling is much lower for Battle. That said, it's a lot easier for him to hit a more productive and impactful level where, like, if he just hits standstill jumpers, he's good, great. So yeah, where was I? Right, Chucky Hepburn. I thought he did a good job with point of attack, but on the flip side, when the Nuggets were giving it to him, he really struggled. He did have a couple moves, did have a couple solid, moves that shows that he's a hooper. He's a two-way guy. He'll be fine. Like he's showing that they made the right choice with him as a two-way guy. Uh, I don't really have too much more to add on Chucky Hepburn. I mean, overall, he was like literally like 1 of 6, and like had a bunch of turnovers, had a slightly positive assist to turnover ratio. I mean, yeah, that's all. But he was good at point of attack defense. CMB, yeah, great closeouts. I love that he went to the line, absorbed contact routinely. He had one where he drove from the top of the key, lowered his shoulder, just went for it. And but I was upset that he didn't hit near the end of the game. Like he could have really sealed the game off like easily. And like you gotta hit that type, especially when you're absorbing the contact. You gotta finish those shots. I think he'll get there. I think he has a decent touch around the hoop. Honestly, like I've seen some guys on this team where like they're like not even absorbing contact. They're afraid to absorb contact. They get freaked out and like just like bounce it off the damn backboard so hard that like it's like going back the other way. I think he'll be fine. Um, one thing is he had one moment where he made a way more complex read than just kicking out into the corner. You got to do that, dude. Just like I love that he's trying new things, but sometimes I also like when the guy is able to simplify it. He isn't afraid to talk, good communicator on the defensive end. That's one thing that I noticed. He had a really good closeout on Holmes, stayed disciplined on Holmes on that one drive. I think it was in I want to say either second, I'll assume it's a third because he played a lot in the third. So in the third quarter, and he ended up swiping down a little bit on Holmes, but I thought that was okay. Ultimately, it was a good possession. Like he wasn't jumping. I'll use Boucher as an example. Sorry, Boucher. I've seen Boucher literally like close out so hard and so like out of control on a guy that he literally jumped off the screen. It took him 10 seconds to reappear in the picture, even though they were on the same side. It was ridiculous. It was like it's like did this guy go grab popcorn, grab drinks, and come back? No, CMB did a really good job. Really good dig downs. What else did I write? Really good at doubling. His defense is going to be amazing. Like you really good at doubling at the top of the arc and then like coming back and rotating over. So I mean, just defensively, I think he's going to be really really good. I never doubted that, but it's still always nice to see. So yeah. Okay, let's get to some comments. Also shout out 416. Oh yeah. Oh, was it to CMB? If it was to CMB, that was nice. So Jamshi. Um yes. Yes. They will actually. I think that this is gonna be a good tandem in the G League for sure. Yeah. Um Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? Like this is the difference between Malawatch going and playing in for Duke and this kid going and playing in the G League for a year. But a G League program that's not the G League Ignite, but maybe a more focused G League that is meant to emphasize just his stuff and build a much better, because that G League Ignite that year, I like a lot of the prospects that came from it, but my goodness, that was such bad basketball for those guys. And I don't blame them. It's just like it was a bad environment. No defense. Not good. But yeah, I think he benefited from being in the right sheltered environment, I'll say, because it's like if your job is to learn how to be a pro, no other distractions, you don't have to go to class. This is your classroom. Your classroom is the court, and that's all you're going to do. That's all you're going to focus on. It also sounds like from the different interviews that he's having a lot of fun. He loves Toronto and stuff like that. So yeah, again, I expect him, as Pascal Cool Cato, sorry, has outlined. It's like, yeah, I expect him to get about 10 minutes of run for sure on a night to night basis. Let's see. Let us see. Thoughts on Shed Ceiling? I think he is a backup who could maybe punch up to a 6 man. The problem is that he has like a huge issue with his size. I love him as a backup point guard. I think he could be a really good backup point guard. But as we saw in the NBA finals, like the best guards moving forward in the league, I think, I could be wrong, but it's trending towards a taller position. It's trending towards 6'5" and above. It's one of the reasons why coming out of this draft, one of the guys that I liked was Kasparis. But I'm perfectly fine with CMB. I like CMB. I like what he's offering, but talked about the fit already multiple times. But we'll see. I think it's on him and the coaching staff. Oh, one other thing. Shout out to Darko. Darko, I know I clown on him sometimes because he's very memeable. But I thought he did a really good job of standing up for his players, standing up for Jacoby when he got hit in the face. One thing that was interesting was seeing Keith Pelly at the Summer League game. And it shows that on top of doing the CAA search that MLSC is committed to, I remember last year that it was, I believe, middle of the year where you heard rumors that Keith Pelly was watching practices and stuff like that. These are very interesting times because usually someone who is not the president of basketball operations, like their boss, is usually not in on these things. So the fact that he's there with the keen eye shows that he's taking this seriously, really, and that he's looking to see if things are progressing well from a developmental standpoint. So, good on them for shining when the big boss is showing. Well, I think I'm kind of running out of things to say. So I'm going to just go through some of the team stats, and then we are going to wrap it up and get out of here. So, in terms of the pace of play, I mean, we saw it was kind of a barn burner, but the Raptors still were playing the possession game. So they got 78 field goal attempts to Denver's 67. Sorry about the clicking. Might need a quieter mouse at some point. Here we go. The other thing, Raptors actually got out rebounded in this one. That's actually surprising. They've actually been leading the rebounding attempt, and you would think that when EJ Liddell's out, that they would kind of like lose that battle, but no, they actually did not. That's actually surprising. They were really good on defense, 12 steals, and loved that. Few free throws. Raptors actually were much better on free throws. Last game it was 62%. They're at 74% this time. A lot of people made their free throws, and I think that ultimately no one should be leaving the gym before you've made at least 300 to 500 free throw attempts on this team, because like last year there were times where we had multiple guys in sub 70 or sub 75, and we had a couple guys that were sub 70. That's embarrassing. That's not good enough. So yeah, he's interviewing candidates there. I mean, he might be. I mean, to be honest, he You see Grant Hill. That's a good point. That is actually a really really good point. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's yeah. That's there's a lot to say there, but I won't say it on this. I'll save that for the big time show. But yeah, is there anyone have any thoughts before I get out of here? I thought it was a fun game. The basketball wasn't as ugly as some of the other games in the past. And I've kind of commented on basically all of the players. I just want to just double check my notes to make sure that I'm not forgetting anyone indeed. I think I talked about Martin. I talked about Walter. Talked about Dayron Holmes. We talked about Battle, Shed, EJ Liddell, Bowie, Chucky Hepburn. I think that that is a pod, people. So, oh, oh yeah, yeah. Shout out to him. I also saw Fred Van Vliet is taking over as the new president of the Players Association. So he's taking over CJ McCollum's role. So hopefully the next time that CBA has negotiations, he's not going to just bet on himself, and we'll see some fair stuff. Do I think that there's going to be a trade now? No. I don't think. This is pure speculation on my part, so I'll just say this. I feel like if there was going to be a trade, they would have seen more moves. The trades that they should be like focusing on are like Ochai, or if they're really big on helping Chris Boucher out, maybe helping him to find a new home where you're getting something small back. Like that is the type of thing that I think that they should be looking at, and that would help them to facilitate moves. Will there be moves? Absolutely, because they are a luxury tax team, and unless people really truly think that they will be for sure top six and maybe even above, like we're talking beyond the first round, I don't see this team as currently constructed as paying the luxury tax. So one of probably Ochai or RJ, with Ochai being the easier to move, is going to be moved more than likely. There's other things that they can do as well. You never know, but those are the easiest things to move. Those are the things that make the most sense. I'm assuming maybe not January, but I know that there is the trade moratorium in December, like mid December. It's like December 19th or something like that. I don't have the exact date in front of me. That is probably the first time you're going to look to see a little bit of like leading up to that date. You might see a little bit of traction, and then around that, between then and early January, I think you might see a move. So yeah. But yeah, that is about it. I also I do want to talk at some point about restricted free agency because it's interesting. I do feel bad for some of the players, like Cam Thomas, for example, who's just like not really getting. I'm not saying that he should get the max, but he should get an answer to, I guess, what he's desiring. Like, if you want me here, then like you gotta actually like respect me and stuff like that. Depends on the record and what. Um, yeah, I mean, if the record's really bad, then like, yeah, of course, like if they start off super bad, then hit the ejecto seat, cuz. But if they are, I think, mediocre, which I think is very likely, having some good spots, having some bad spots, so that averages out to be mediocre. Yeah, again, like it's probably going to be RJ or Ochai and stuff like that. And then you make moves on the minor to whether it be to make a better move later on that's more easy to make or whatever it is. So yeah. Anyways, that is, I think, enough on Summer League. What I will say is that there are a couple other games on today. I'm just gonna pull them out. Also, shout out to the Indiana Fever. They did win today. I'm just gonna pull up the other games right now. Sorry, 1 second. As I get to them, not the G League. 1 second. Takes me a second to get the Summer League scores up here, people. So bear with me. Here we go. All right. So today, of course, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's healthy, but if he is, Cedric Coward would be should be playing tonight. Right now, had an up and down season because obviously he only played 6 games, but I really like his game. Yeah, I don't see him playing, but I do see Gigi Jackson playing tonight. Um, Trailblazers. So if you are a part of the Yang Gang, that's the game for you. Sometimes I watch these games the next morning when I have time in the morning, so I'll like rewatch it on fast speed to get through some of them. If there's someone that I'm interested in, so Rob Dillingham, obviously that's gonna be a fun one. They won against the Pistons. New York won their matchup. Magic played against the Thunder, and Topic is actually doing really well. He's like my sneak uh, player selection for Rookie of the Year because usually when you get a redshirt year, you do really well, um, as evidenced by like Chet and Blake Griffin and a bunch of and Ben Simmons even. Shout out to Ben Simmons, Rookie of the Year, Ben Simmons. This is why we don't focus on Rookie of the Year forever. Um, Drew Timmy. Wow, yeah. If I'm talking about Drew Timmy, I think that that's a night. So, um, yeah. Sorber's still injured, and Coward he only played six games. He had a really interesting 6 games, but it's small sample size, so it's kind of like you don't want to draw too much from it. But yeah, I also seeing TJ Bamba, and I'm wondering if he's related to Mo Bamba. I'm just gonna look this up right now. Um, it is not. He is not related to Mo Bamba. Ooh, Mo Bamba's brother died. Never mind. Okay, that's really sad. Um, don't want to end on that note. So I'll just talk a little bit more about the 76ers and then I will leave because that is actually really, really depressing. No, I don't think that Harrison Ingram is related to Brett Ingram. Yeah, so in terms of that, VJ Edgecombe did not have a great game today, but nor did Jalen Hood-Schifino. And overall, I think this is going to be, for better or for worse, one of the more interesting Raptors seasons to watch. I think nearly every single whether you're watching it from a morbid curiosity or not, I think it'll be very very interesting. I did hear about yeah, but what was the surgery on though? Because like, what is it? The type of surgery that's going to take? Let's see, it's Paul George surgery. I did hear about this on his left knee, but like, is it just like arthroscopic surgery where he's going to be back in like a month on court? That is, or it's just 6. He's out 6 weeks, so yeah, that's not ideal. But I mean, we'll see. What I will say is that there are a lot of minutes. There are certainly a lot of minutes available for VJ Edgecombe. I don't think that Nick Nurse is the type of dude that's going to tank. They are going to pray a lot for Embiid to be healthy. They think that he will be healthy, and we will find out. Yeah, yeah, but I think there's a little bit more to that than this. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that about you know about that. Um, Bruce Brown had a very fun time in Toronto, simply put. But yeah. Anyways, I mean, it's not my business. It's the Sixers' business. So, um, whether I don't think that they're going to enter the year tanking because I think that would put Morey on the hot seat as Nick Nurse as well. But some of these teams they come together in strange ways. So yeah. Anyways, that is that. Hope everyone is well. Stay well. It is really really smoky outside, so be careful. And yeah, enjoy the summer. Peace.